Welcome to the podcast where we speak truth, illuminate power, and fully embody who the fuck we are. This is the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. We are all about spiritual evolution, spiritual growth, talking about the things that may be controversial, even some triggering concepts, but we are all about expansion. Come on in and join us as we reclaim and recenter ourselves in the power of who we really are. We are the Light Warriors, and welcome to the revolution. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 109 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. And it's really funny. So if you guys don't know, I record the intros after I actually record the podcast episode, because then I can summarize it to some degree. And it was really funny at the beginning. I was like, I don't even know what episode this is. I literally went to my phone to check to see what episode it was. And most people would probably edit that out, but I'm like, no way, man. What you can count on is every single time I hit record on these episodes, I will show up in real, raw vulnerability for you. I will step up every single time to speak it into the field, to tell you about stories of my life, if that's relevant to the conversation we're having, and to just be here in the space of everything. So we're in episode 109. I'm so excited for 2 weeks from now when we get to episode 111, 111. I wonder what I'll talk about then. It's hard to say. But today, I just went off on a rant that I wasn't even thinking about even diving into. I was talking about the diminishment of the feminine energy, but also some of the narrative of the elitists in the world and what we're coming up against right now in the space of things, and taking back that power within our own ritual spiritually, and to allow ourselves to actually do the work necessary for our soul's expansion on earth. And I come in hot. I'm literally probably having a conversation with myself to a more depthful degree than I am even you guys listening to this. But it's a powerful, short podcast. I really nail into it. So please honor whatever you're hearing through this, because that message was downloaded for you if you are here right now. And I just really am an honoring of this life, of all of it, all the pieces that we get to play with, and all the aspects of what this means for us and all the things. So without further ado, episode 109, Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Well, here we go. Oh my gosh, what episode are we on? I think this is episode 109. I should actually check to see what episode this actually is before I start having conversations with you guys. And normally this would be the time where you would stop the recording, and then, yeah, it's episode 109. You would stop the recording and then you would reset and you would restart. But I'm like, this just goes to show how life truly is as a human in this spiritual and human evolution on earth. Okay. We are not perfect beings. We have never been perfect beings, nor will we ever be perfect, because perfect is a calibration of us stepping outside of ourselves to actually try to become something that we're not. And if we are always in the pursuit of being perfect, then we will never be aligned spiritually, and we will never be in full potency of our light. And that was one of the mechanisms. If you think about Stepford Wives, or you think about, I just keep seeing the ad with the perfect wife on it, with her apron on, and how she cooks dinner for her husband and does all the things inside the home and does all these things, and not in a way of an actual feminine energy, but in a way of, I am controlled by this, and look at how perfect I am. And because I'm this perfect, this is what I need to live in and fit into this box. And it was those mechanisms that were literally conditioned throughout the world, throughout so many times in our lifespan. I've been knee deep in Outlander, and it's not like I would ever suggest anybody to watch television or TV in certain aspects, especially with the encoding and frequency that is coming through our televisions right now in the space of all the stuff that's going through. But Outlander has given me a way to actually communicate some of the work I do. The past life work that I do, it's like you go up to the stone and I do the work in the stone to take you back to the past life. Now, obviously in the work I do, we don't stay there for years and get married and do all these things as this version of us. We dive into the space to be able to clear stuff, heal stuff, and do stuff and dynamically. But why I bring this up today in this perspective of what I wasn't even going to talk about, but apparently this is coming through, because I asked right before I came on, I was like, where are we leaning into in this episode? How can I serve? This apparently is the way of communication for us today in the space of all this. But it's really looking at what women were treated like in the 1700s, in the 1500s, even in the whole witch trial dynamic of these women being chastised and like literally taken out through death because they were speaking into truth. And this is one of the narratives we're healing in the earth experience now. Now, I'm not talking about the feminist movement, because the feminist movement was actually created by the elitist in the shadow energy to pull women out of the homes, to literally pull apart the family unit. So the cohesive energy of the masculine and the feminine could no longer come together in strength, that they would be fighting against each other, that the women would be out in the world not adhering to their actual feminine energy, but trying to, let's say, compete against men when we don't need to compete against anyone. Women can be multimillionaires and independent and do their thing, as well as hold their femininity. But the whole feminist movement was about being like a man, getting paid like a man. And if you look at the narrative of it all and you go look at the actual writing in the feminist movement, it was all wrapped around this space where the narrative in the collective has been for a long time, since Mary Magdalene days, even since the beginning of the, after Christ energy of like zero, the earth experience at zero, moving up into hundreds and thousands of years, was to diminish the woman. Mary Magdalene was just as much, if not even more important, in the healing dynamics that Yeshua, or Jesus, Yeshua is his higher self's name, brought to the world. She activated his Kundalini energy. She was actually a catalyst in his healing abilities. Yes, he was trained by Mother Mary, who was trained by Isis and Hathor in the deep-rooted mystic schools. Mary Magdalene was also a prodigy of that energetic field and that movement of energy. But you don't see in scripture them talk about her this way. You don't see in the narratives that she walked alongside him for 3 years doing this work, and she continued the work after he left the earth plane. It's like you don't see this mechanism. You don't see this movement in the energetic field. You do not hear about this. And we are at a cusp in this energetic capacity, in this energetic field of ownership of the femininity, of ownership of the womb creation, not just in birthing, but in expanding through our womb portals to heal. Now, I've spoken about this often. I've had numerous guests on in like season 2 that have tapped into this energetic field, and we've kind of deciphered this. But apparently, through like literally a client session I was having today, and we were discussing this, and she's healing multiple lifetimes at once right now in the space of the work she's doing, and some of the work that I've been knee deep in my own journey, as well as watching this come through. We're dismantling the masculine driven energy inside of us as females in the world right now. Not that we don't need some of that masculine, because we all have duality within us, right? We all play within a certain energetic balance and movement of this, but it is about shifting our abilities to step into expansion, shifting our abilities to trust more in this flow, to move with it. Because a lot of us are chasing our to-do lists. A lot of us are in the space of like, I need to get this done. This has to happen. This has to da, 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 and all the things that we keep saying to ourselves all the time that are getting us by, that are allowing us to stay in survival mode, that are keeping us in this context of this box and playing in the fields. And a lot of it has to do with money, because if you are strapped monetarily, then you are tightened around lack. And if the government systems and the 3D mechanisms and all the things can keep you in lack, then they've got you by the balls, or by the creative outlets, we'll call it, for females. And if they can hold that and hold you in that space and not allow you to see that you are a conscious creator, and as women with wounds, maybe not even in this life, if you are a man listening to this podcast right now, you have this ability as well to shift this narrative in your field. But you've got to make a decision and decide that you won't let the external circumstances hinder your intuitive flow, that you will step in and step up into the space to shift and change your life, and to actually allow your divine feminine to come through you, to be able to lead in your world, to lead in creative outlets, to lead in expansion processes, to let her flow within life, and to trust the downloads coming in and the channeling that moves through her to be able to set up certain infrastructures. And then the masculine comes behind that divine feminine to create the portals, to create the structure, to lead within the to-do lists and the notes and all the things and the strategies on how to move it forward. But she leads. She's the helm. Even though we sometimes think it's the man that's the leader of the household, and yes, he is, but he is being led in a certain perspective of intuition. He is being led in a certain space of being able to be strong and providing and the alpha male strength when a man is fully embodied in who he is. But it's the intuitive part of the femininity that is opening up the possibilities for all of it. The possibilities for him to do the work, the possibilities for all this creation to come about. And sometimes we forget, a lot of times we forget about this. And we are leading in our masculine all the time instead of dropping into ourselves and taking the moments to quiet the mind, to meditate, to do the things to connect here so that we can lead this with this heart instead of with the mind. And it is a whole mind fuck of shifting all of this around. This is the work. This is the game. This is the space right here. But most of us are still fighting with our fucking mind, and we're not leading with our hearts because we're not trusting ourselves enough. We're not trusting the messages. We're not trusting we're going to be held because there is no evidence. There will not be any evidence until you drop in, and then the confirmation comes later and you're like, oh, that's why I had to do that. Oh, that's why that dropped in. Every single day, all day long in my world, except for when I'm like tapped into calls and stuff, I'm saying to myself, I am held all the time. I trust in divine. I trust in the universe. I trust, because I am reprogramming all of the shit that I was programmed with. And I am light years ahead of some people, and I still do this every day. I still am conscious all the time about this aspect to myself because I have to be. Because the second I'm not, I can get sucked back into the vortex. And does it take space? Yes. But it plays out in just ample amounts of like degrees. It's not one for one in my world. I'm consistently showing up, and it's like plethoras of doorways are opening. Cool shit's happening to me all the time. And I watch it and I'm like, holy fuck, that's good. Holy fuck, that's good. That's what I'm saying all the time in my life. Holy fuck, that's good. Shit, man. That's amazing. And it doesn't mean I'm not going through my own shit and that I'm not knee deep in my own adventures, I call it, because I am. And if you know anything about my life, you'll be like, you are. I'm like, I know. Like, I literally am flying back to Canada. Like, I leave Thursday. I'm back in Costa Rica on Sunday. So 4 days, 2 of those days are pretty much all travel to get my cat because the woman who has her can't keep her any longer. And Tony, my cat, has decided that she is coming to Costa Rica and she's ready to come. For those of you that don't know the story, before I came, she was coming with me. She told me that she wasn't coming to Costa Rica and that she was going to go live at my girlfriend's house, who she didn't even know. It just so happened that my girlfriend was looking for another cat, and Tony's the same age as her cat, and it all worked out until it didn't. And now I'm flying back into Canada for literally 4 days to go get my cat. Do you know what this actually entails? $400 vet bill. I've got bills to get the documentation notarized. I have to pay for her and register her to be on the plane, flights, Airbnbs, all the stuff that needs to transpire. This isn't an easy feat. And then I have dogs that have never lived with a cat and are prey dogs, meaning they chase fucking everything. So this whole entire thing is going to be an experience. Plus the dogs can't be alone because they like to chew shit. So when I'm teaching or on calls, the cat's going to be up on my desk, hopefully sleeping, or at least with me, while the dogs are on the floor. And apparently, like, the dogs know how to do the office because there's a bed here, and Clark's right now passed out on the bed, literally on his back in the most fucking cutest position ever. And Lily's on the floor or under the bed sleeping. But for the first while, this is going to be a little bit mayhem. And Tony's never lived with a dog that chased her because Athena never chased the dogs or chased the cats. But I think she got swiped in the face once. So Tony's going to have to step the fuck up. She knows what she's coming into. I had an animal communicator bridge the conversation. Tony knows what she's coming into. She made a conscious choice to come here. But it's like, my life isn't easy perspective. I have a lot of stuff I'm working through, a lot of stuff I'm working through. However, I know, I know, and I know, and I know, and I know that I will always be supported, and that my job is to keep connecting into my divine feminine and opening up the portals and accessing the information and tapping into it and serving in it and moving through it and getting into the space of impact and really allowing myself to be seen and show up in the space. But it takes grit. It takes courage. It takes some aspects of myself that have to come forward first. It takes dedication to the cause. It's taking like focus in the space that I don't let my meditation not happen. I don't let my connection to myself not transpire. I make literally a point that these are the most important parts of my day, including making money. Because if I do this right, the spiritual stuff first, and it doesn't mean it has to be done in the morning, okay? Like you can do life and do your thing, but I make it a priority, and that's the actual expander. Most of us are so caught up in our to-dos that we think that going to work is the priority. When, yeah, I get it pays your bills right now, but you are stuck in a cycle and in a loop at this moment of time if you think that your job is going to save you. It won't. It will keep you on your hamster wheel. And yeah, I get that it's paying the bills right now, but you are limited if that's the only thing that you're leaning into. If you are not doing your spiritual work, connecting with nature, connecting with yourself, getting quiet, meditating, changing your mindset, doing the things necessary, clearing your energy, protecting your energy, expanding in the space of things. It doesn't have to take long for all of this stuff. Sometimes we think we have to sit in meditation for half an hour, and I want to call bullshit on that. You do not have to do that. But parts of your day need to be connected in expanding, in being present in your life and being, in order to open up the portals for more alignment. Because if you do not do this, and every day you're chasing the thing and chasing the thing and chasing the thing and chasing the thing, you're going to keep fucking chasing the hamster wheel. Nothing is going to change in your life. The spiritual practice are the most important. This is the work. Okay, they've conditioned us to think that our jobs are the work when it's complete BS. When you are in a job, you are owned by the system, period. They tell you what they pay you, and it doesn't mean the company's bad. I'm talking about the overall system of this. They tell you what you're being paid. They take off whatever they want to take off of your paycheck and call it taxes. And then they give you the rest to then be taxed more upon, and for you to be taxed again when you go spend it. The whole system's rigged. The whole system is rigged. When are you going to make a decision to actually step up and step in? I was teaching the Catalyst program, and I was talking about stepping up. If you want to be in my world, you either step up or you step out. That's the thing. It's like I am not dropping my energetic vibration for anybody any longer. You need to step up with me and kind of roll with me, whatever that means, or you step out. And there's a lot of people stepping out of my field, and I'm honoring all of them in whatever way. Some people will peek back in. Some people are like, I can't handle it. Some people are like, I'm too busy. And I'm like, I've only told a few people I'm headed back to Ontario. I don't have a lot of time. I've got a program to teach on Friday afternoon. I've got to do all the stuff running around the government systems and things and paperwork and all that in the morning. Then Saturday is my only day to get some shopping done. One of my clients wants to take me on a motorcycle ride, which I don't even know if I'm going to be able to connect with him or not. And I try to see him every single time I'm in town. And yeah, I just don't know how this is going to play out. So there's a couple people that knew I was coming into town. None of the energies aligned. And it's okay. I am not putting anything on anything. I'm living my life and my vibration. If it works out, it's going to work out. And if it doesn't work out, I'm going to have another kind of experience, and it's going to be all amazing and great. And it doesn't matter what that even looks like for me. So I breathe into this today with you. I just want you to feel this, that we are being called into our expansion. And it's going to take us changing the narrative. It's going to take us dropping the storylines. It's going to take us releasing the victimhood. Fuck, that victimhood is deeply rooted. It's going to take us trusting in ourselves. And when we actually start to do this and we start to move this through and we start to endeavor in this, everything changes. Everything changes. So apparently that was my potent landscape for my podcast today. I don't have a lot more to say in the space of this. That was what came through, and I honor all of that. We are in a journey, my friends. A massive, massive journey. A journey that we don't know how it's going to end. We have no clue what this actually really means. We don't really know. But I see that as the beautiful adventure that we're on. It's like we're in Lord of the Rings, and Frodo has got his mission and he's got the ring, and his job is to take it to whatever the fucking place is called, Moldor, and to get rid of it. We all have a mission right now. And we're no longer in the space of, should you choose to? We are in the space of, it's time to step the fuck in. So here's your confirmation if you needed one, or your ass kicking if you needed one of those. Whatever it is for you today, here it is. And like I always say, help us spread the word, get it out, share it on your social feeds, send it to a friend. We are all in need of some brilliant light in our space, and all of us are being called forward into that light. Shine on, my friend. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Well, we know that you like the podcast potentially because you're still here listening to this actual audio at this moment of time. So all that we're going to ask is, can you please just help us share it out? Tag some friends, share it with a friend, help us spread the word, because each of us moving through together as we collaborate, as we move within this light warrior movement, helps each of us illuminate in lights. And we're just so grateful. I'm so grateful. The guests are always so grateful too, that you help us spread the word, that you help us really step into this space to be able to own all of our pathway. And we are just so grateful to have you here. And thank you again for listening.